Hola, hola. It's your girl Erika from America. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles podcast. This podcast is all about helping you stand in who you are. Stop giving a fuck what people think about you. Start standing as your fully expressed self. As you are, as is, there is no filter needed. You are fucking awesome, and I am here to remind you. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm a bold stand for confidence, and I cannot wait to dig into today's episode with you. Hello, my gorgeous friend. What is going on with you? How the heck are you? I hope that you have been well. Yo, I feel it is March and I feel like the year has just begun. I don't know about you, but I don't know if you remember. If you're new here, you don't remember. If you've been here for a while, what's up? Welcome back. You would have known that I started 2022 a little bit rocky. We got the vid, we got sick, I lost my confidence. I did a podcast about it. I literally lost my confidence. It was so scary. And we got hit by a car. A car hit our car and it totaled our car. The guy was so lovely. He was such a nice guy. I felt so bad because he didn't mean to hit us. But it hit us and we lost our car. So we had to get a new car. It was just a hot mess. And then February, I went and ran a retreat, which was just heaven. It was literally heaven on earth. And we had the best time ever. And that was incredible. But it was a big month. February was huge. Now we are in March, and March is bringing all the freaking goods. March is also the month of International Women's Day, isn't it? And last week was International Women's Day, and I didn't do a podcast about it because I had my girl Kemi on the podcast sharing her new book, Power. And honestly, that was the best podcast I could gift you as a guest for International Women's Day, because that woman is a powerhouse. She is incredible, a friend, a mentor, inspiring as hell, unapologetic. She's just taught me so damn much. She's a friend. She's amazing. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's a boss. She is literally the what's the word called? The meaning of power is Kemi. So if you haven't listened to that, I will tag that in the show notes. It's definitely an episode you need to listen to. My YouTube with her is coming out as well, so you can watch the episode, because we cried and we laughed and it was pretty damn hilarious. We had a great time. So that was my International Women's Day episode. And that whole week, International Women's Day week, I felt this, I don't even want to say triggered, but I just felt activated. And I'm not a holiday kind of person, so I don't celebrate like Happy Mother's Day, blah, blah, blah. I think that these holidays are things that industries, consumerism, companies, Hallmark, all these companies have created for us to spend money and feel guilty about how we don't treat our moms good or how we don't think about womanhood, and they gave us a day for our holiday. So I have a little bit of about these days. However, it's also an incredible day to celebrate women and talk about women and talk about women's rights and talk about how we treat ourselves and talk about women who support you and give them shout outs. So there's a lot of hype around International Women's Day. And I wanted to do this episode a week later, and I titled this episode like, what if the person stopping you was you, on purpose? Because that's what I think when I think about International Women's Day hype. You know, you see all the videos, the company who created International Women's Day, or the organization IWD, you know, has a yearly topic. This year it's break the bias. The year before was something about gender gap or whatever. Every year there's a new topic. And what's interesting to me, and what I'm really on fire about, want to talk to you about in this episode, is that when we look outside of ourselves and we focus on breaking the bias or the gender or the pay gap or the patriarchy or the male-dominated industry or the whatever, all the external circumstances as to why women aren't rising up and why women aren't making more money, living the life they love, having confidence, you know, standing in their power, being suppressed, all that stuff. When we look to our outside circumstances, we are going to find all the reasons why we can't do what we want to do. And I want to say this really important disclaimer, because I am not saying none of that exists. I am 100% It exists. Gender bias exists. Pay gap exists. Patriarchal systems that fucking suppress women exist. Sexism, racism, all of that exists. We are fighting all of that. 100%. But what I don't like to do on these International Women's Day events or International Women's Day week is focus on why we can't rise and how those systems hold us down and how those things are the reasons why women don't make money and don't have a pay gap and all this stuff. I don't like to focus on that. And it doesn't mean it's not true. It's true. I see it. I see it when I look out into the world. I get it. But what does me focusing on that do? I'll tell you my perspective and some of my clients. When we focus on that, we get pissed off at these external circumstances as to why we can't have what we want, why we can't make more money, why we can't blah, 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 right? It pisses us off and we want to fight. We want to change it. We want to fight. We want to protest. We want to burn shit. We want to be like, we want to just be on fire with changing and fighting the system. And I'm like, I hear you, boo. I hear you, queen. I hear you that things need to change. But do you know what my on fire shit is about? What if you changed it in your own backyard? What if it started at home? And what I mean by at home is, what if it started with you? What if you were kinder to you? What if you didn't tear your own goddamn self apart? What if you stopped judging yourself, comparing yourself, ripping and picking your body apart in the mirror? What if you spoke kindly about yourself to yourself? What if you believed in yourself? What if you didn't accept the narcissistic, fucked up, toxic relationship that you're in? What if you didn't accept your boss, your coworker, your friend, your mother, your sister, your neighbor to speak to you in a disrespectful way? What if you stood up for yourself? What if you stopped judging other women? What if you stopped comparing yourself to other women? What if you were kinder, nicer? What if you fought for you? Like, we out here trying to change patriarchal systems and this bias and that thing and those people and rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, when you go home, ooh, I'm getting fired up. Yo, when you go home from that International Women's Day lunch that you went to with your lashes and your nails and you're all sexy and beautiful, when you go home, if you're going home to a fucked up relationship with a man or a woman who's been living off of you, if you go home and you go back to a job where you do not speak up and you take the bullshit that they give you, if you go home and you tear yourself into pieces because you're not as pretty or skinny or gorgeous or anti-wrinkle or whatever the fuck as the woman that was at your table, if you go home and you do that, I'm sorry. Yo, don't send me no emails about the hate on this podcast, because if you're fucking activated or triggered by what I'm saying, consider this shit is probably true for you. I'm sorry, but how the hell do you get a say in trying to fight the systems and the patriarchy and all the bullshit that holds us down when you hold your goddamn self down? When you are the one that's stopping yourself. And that's why I want to call it this. And I put this quote in my book, the first page, like, welcome to Confidence Feels Like Shit. What if the person stopping you was you? And listen to me when I tell you, do I believe we need to overcome these systems? Yes. Do I believe there's bias and gender gaps and fucked up shit and racism, sexism? Yes. And here's my question. Who is going to fight for these changes? Who is going to rock up and make sense and stand in their power and own themselves? Which woman is going to make a change? The woman who tears herself up? The woman who hates herself, hates on her body, hates on other women, hates her job, doesn't feel loved, doesn't feel good enough, questions herself, second guesses herself, self-doubt, self-sabotage, all that fucking bullshit that we say, procrastination. Which woman? That woman? She's gonna make a change? I don't think so. Or is the woman who knows who the fuck she is empowered, knows she's a queen, is good with herself, loves herself up, treats herself with love and respect, and knows that she is royalty, knows that there is nothing wrong with her body, is not apologetic, walking into a room as she is, fully expressed, healed her trauma, done her work, cut generational trauma ties. is standing in her power, is shiny and bright as fuck, is taking up space. You tell me which kind of woman you want fighting for you and your woman's rights. You tell me. Because I know what kind of woman I want to fight for and what kind of woman I want fighting for other women. The woman who knows who she is. So I'm not saying there's no problem. There are a lot of problems in our goddamn world right now. There are a lot of problems. But if there's a problem in your world, at home with yourself, if there's a problem with you and yourself, and you're trying not to deal with that problem and looking outside yourself as to how the world's messed up and how men are holding me down or male-dominated industry or pay gap or this or that, my love, my darling queen, you will find all the ways on which you cannot flourish. You don't even need to look too far. You will find those ways. And my invitation is, if you focus on that, that's where you're gonna go. And I'm like, ask yourself, are you kind to you? Have you healed the relationship with yourself? Do you honor yourself? Do you treat yourself good? Do you respect yourself? Do you speak your truth and speak your voice? Because I'm like, if we're trying to look outside of ourselves to make a change, but we will not look within ourselves, like, I'm sorry. That's not gonna help. That's not going to help. That's just going to be in my world of coaching. When you sit in the victim space, you did this to me because of that. I can't rise because of this. I can't this. And I'm not saying you haven't been victimized. By the way, when I say victim space, I mean when you act as in, because of this, I can't do that. Have you been victimized? Most definitely. Probably. I know I have. So I'm speaking to you in the space of when we stand in the victimhood and victim space, we cannot make a change. Instead, you know what I do? If you want to know what I do, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you what I do. Instead, I look into the world and I look at where can I, Erika, take responsibility for who I am showing up as. Am I showing up as a victim of womanhood? Am I showing up because I'm a woman, I'm not going to get paid, because I'm a woman of color, because I live in Australia? There's a lot of white women around me that are educated. I'm not educated. I'm Latina. I didn't do well in English. I barely know math. I don't speak eloquently. Am I going to go, oh my God, it's because I'm Latina, it's because I grew up in the hood, it's because I didn't go to college, that's why I don't have what I have, people are pushing me down, I'll never be able to rise? When I look to Oprah, when I look to Maya Angelou, when I look to Celia Cruz, these women had every reason to not rise, yet they did. And how did they do so? By being kind and finding the kindness, the power, the self-love within themselves, claiming themselves. That woman who is empowered and claiming herself is going to make change in the world. She's going to rise up other women. She's going to amplify other women. And she's going to actually make change. So I look and find women who've done that despite the pay gap, despite gender bias, despite any bias. And when I look, I see them. When I look, I see them. So I'm not saying this shit's not real, okay? It's real as hell. What I'm saying is we need you. We need every single woman to remember who she is, to deal with her shit with herself, to love, be kind, empowered within herself, to get the ammunition of self-power, of self-love, of knowing who she is. I just got on a crazy freeway. Sorry if the sound is loud. I had to do it. I had to do this right now. We need her. We need you to rise up. We need you to stop stopping yourself. We need you to stand in your power. We need you to stop being apologetic. We need you to use your voice. We need you to let your shit out. We need you to stop apologizing for existing. We need you to stop picking yourself apart. We need you to honor yourself, because that woman, when you do that, that's the woman that's going to change the world. But please do not look out into the world and complain about how shit is when you yourself go home and pick yourself apart. I'm sorry. And I have never heard that conversation happen in an International Women's Day event. And that is, thank you for coming to my damn TED Talk. If I could do a TED Talk tomorrow, that's what it would be about. Like, yo. And who's going to make this change that is so needed? A woman who knows herself, a woman who loves herself, a woman who is obsessed with herself, knowing there's nothing wrong with her. She knows who she is. She's unapologetic. Yeah, she could still be working on herself. I'm her. I know that I want to work on my body. I know that I want to get healthier. I know that I could be a better mother. I know that I could be a better business owner. I know I could be a better boss, a better wife. I know that I can work on myself, and I do. Yet I also know that I am perfect as I am imperfect. My imperfect self is perfect as I am. I don't need to prove my validation or worthiness to anyone. I don't need to apologize for existing and being a Latina in a country that my people aren't really here. I get to be me, fully expressed, loud and proud. You don't like me, that's your business. That's on you. You don't want to work with me, that's on you. You don't like me, that's on you. You want to criticize me, that's on you. I don't make it mean shit. I am literally fully expressed. Do I sit in self-doubt sometimes? Of course. But I don't live in that space. I don't live in the space of, because of that, I can't have this. No, I'm like, I'm going to find a way because I've seen other women do it. So I'm like, shine bright. Shine bright. The brighter you shine, the more I can see what's possible. Not the opposite. Don't shine. Who do you think you are? I'm like, hell yeah, who do you think you are? Show me. So I could be inspired by you. Don't tone down. Don't turn your volume down. Turn it up. Turn the bass up. Shine hard. That woman who shines hard, who knows who she is, who is unapologetic, who is constantly working on her shit, who has healed her trauma and is constantly working on healing her trauma and her lineage and her generational trauma. That woman is going to change the world. So I'm just saying, here's my invitation. Yeah, International Women's Day, who run the world, girls? Cool. But when you go home and you hate on yourself, don't be trying to change patriarchal ways. How about you work on you? And yeah, I know that the reason why a lot of us probably hate on ourselves is because of the patriarchal ways. But we are not going to solve this problem outside. We need to go within and solve the problem inside. And from the inside out, we make change. It's not the other way around. So that's my rant on International Women's Day and my rant on what if the person stopping you was you. Answer that question to yourself. Where do you stop yourself and why? Where do you stop yourself and why? And can you commit to working on that before you look outside and look for reasons why you can't do, have, be what you want to be? Okay? I love you. This is all said with love. I love your face. I believe in you. And I'm proud of you. And I'm grateful for you sticking through and listening to this episode. Because you couldn't tell, but I was driving real activated. I'm stopped now. Like, yo, got my fire. I'm like, oh, it just activates me. And every year, if you book me to speak at your International Women's Day conference, every year, that's the message I want to share. Like, I don't want to hear about, oh, the break the bias. Next year's a new topic. Next year's a new topic. This new topic. Let's talk about the topic of when do women take fucking responsibility for stopping themselves. And is it your fault? Hell no. It's your upbringing. It's your trauma. It's the shit that happened to you. It's who raised you. It's what you learned. But now as an adult, it wasn't your fault. But like Will Smith says, it is your responsibility as a grown-ass woman now to work on those things before you dare look outside as to how these things are stopping you. What if you were stopping yourself? Let's get working in our own backyard. Yeah? I love you. Have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate your ears, your time, your energy, and your attention. Please do me a favor and head over to Apple iTunes. Subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Share this episode with a sister who you know needs to hear it. And if you feel called to, leave me a review. I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. I'd love to know how this information is helping you change your world. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there are many podcasts you could listen to, and I really appreciate you listening to mine. Have a gorgeous week, honey.